Hello, and thanks for joining us on this holiday edition of Cooking with Styles. I'm Sean Styles, and if you've been watching me, you might have noticed I kind of know my way around the kitchen. So what we're going to do for you is show you some starters, some great side dishes, even a main course, and finish it all off with an easy-to-do apple dessert. Let's get cooking holiday style. To do this holiday hummus is really easy, but there's a couple prep things you need to do. You need to roast the beets first, a little olive oil, salt, and pepper in the oven, 300 degrees, for about 45 minutes. Then for the chickpeas, you're going to want to peel them, and I'm going to show you right here. You see this little skin right there? You want to peel it off because that will make your hummus much more creamy. So in a food processor, if you have one of those fancy new blenders, you don't have to use this. In go our chickpeas. These are the beets that have been peeled. You got to peel them after you roast them. That's going to turn this into a holiday hummus. We're going to throw in a couple sprigs, or make that cloves of garlic, lemon juice. We've got our tahini, which is actually a sesame seed paste. You can pick this up at any type of Arabic market, or a lot of markets have it here and around San Diego or wherever you live. And then our Greek yogurt goes in there like so. Try to get it inside. And to that, I'm going to add a pinch of salt and a dash of pepper. On goes the lid. And we're going to blend this. Now, if this gets too thick, we'll add a little bit of water. And while this is blending, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to it. All right, that's a little too thick, so in goes some water. Stop it down, push everything back down in, and blend some more. All right, this has been blending for about 2, maybe 3 minutes, depending on your blender. What you want to do right now is taste it and add a little more salt and pepper. To me, this is spot on. So let's get this plated up. And this is what kind of makes it a holiday special here, because what we're doing, and I think you can see it in the colors here, is we're going to have this beautiful hummus, and we're going to put that right in the center there. And of course we'll have extra because people will go through this pretty darn quick. And we'll put that in there, and I'm using a lot of colors here. So I'm using cucumbers, but the American ones are kind of watery and seedy. The Persian or English cucumbers, I love. Those are really good. The pita, you just slice this pita bread, spray a little olive oil on it, and toast it, and then the red peppers. To this, I'm going to take a little bit of paprika, smoked, and we're going to put that over the top. Get it, the red there. And then just a little bit of the toasted pistachios over that. And there you go. You've got your holiday hummus ready to serve up. So this holiday hummus is a great cool starter for your holiday celebration, but I've got another dish. It's warm, toasty, and light. It's a puff pastry with a savory topping. Let's get that started up next. So making these savory puff pastries is really all about just assembly, and I'm going to finish it up here with a little bit of olive oil on top. A couple tricks. One, don't make your own puff pastry because it's way too hard. Buy it from the store. It's really pretty good, depending on where you buy it. It could be Petra's Farms, I don't know. Work with it when it's cold, not when it warms up to room temperature, because it won't be puff pastry. Let me show you how I assemble some of these and get things rolling here. Now we've got our nice little mushrooms, savory mushrooms. We'll put them in the center there with some of the shallots. And remember, you got to take what you have here and spread it out over this whole thing. To this, I'm going to take a little bit of the mozzarella cheese, and you can use a blend if you'd like. If you prefer, you know, a little Parmigiano Reggiano mixed in there, and you put this on top like so. To that, we're going to take the Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. And remember, you're working with a cold puff pastry here. Don't let it sit out. And then to the top of this, I'm going to put a little bit of the fresh thyme that I've picked from the garden, and we're going to put those over the top. So while I assemble the rest of these, let me show you how easy it is to make those savory shallots and mushrooms. In a medium hot skillet, add your olive oil and shallots. We'll saute those up along with the mushrooms. we're using cremini mushrooms here, about a ½ pound. And I'll add a good pinch of salt and a splash or dash of pepper. We'll saute these for about 5-6 minutes until tender. So we're just about done, but I might have forgot to tell you this. You want to make sure you score the puff pastry before you start assembling. I'm just showing you how I did it before. And you just run the knife like this, and when you bring them out of the oven, they'll just break apart on that scoring. Just about done with the puff pastry and the savory topping. A little bit more cheese on these, and then we'll get these popped into the oven. So one more time, a little mozzarella cheese or a blend of whatever you'd like. We top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, like so. These are gonna be so good, I'm telling you. And then that fresh thyme. You can use, dried thyme, but fresh is so much better and it's so easy to get. These are all ready to go in the oven. Let's head on over there. So my oven's preheated, 400 degrees. These are gonna go in for about 12 minutes. You wanna make sure you time these so they're coming out as your guests are showing up. All right, these look perfect, nice and golden brown. Let's get these plated up. A couple tips, make sure you score them, like I forgot to, but score your puff pastry and make sure you're serving these beautiful puff pastry on a warm plate. Also, try to time this so when you're serving it, your guests are showing up or just after they've been there, so then that way they really get to enjoy how nice and flaky and warm and crusty these are. Savory puff pastry with mushrooms and Parmesan cheese on top. It's super, super easy. Finish them off with a little bit of parsley on top, just for a little color contrast. And believe it or not, the oils in that parsley will release. So there's another starter for your holiday season. Coming up, we're gonna do a turkey dinner for 4 using a turkey breast. You're gonna love that one. And then also, do you like Brussels sprouts? Well, we're gonna throw some shallots in it and finish it off with a little balsamic glaze. That's coming your way. Welcome back to this special holiday edition of Cooking with Styles, cooking holiday style. Now, when it comes to Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner or any holiday meal, not everyone wants to eat a whole turkey, and frankly, not every family can. So how about if we do a turkey breast? We're gonna truss this up, make some beautiful vegetables, and we'll use the au jus in there to finish it off. Let me show you how we get the vegetables going. And what I've done, and you can use any medley of vegetables you'd like. I've got some potatoes, Brussels sprouts, shallots, parsnips, and carrots. And this is super simple. What we're going to do with this is we're gonna take a little bit of rosemary, and we're just gonna sprinkle that in there. We're gonna peel fresh rosemary off, and then I'm gonna take a couple sprigs of thyme and just throw those in there like that, peeling the leaves. Don't worry about the stems getting in there. That's gonna add flavor as well. A nice healthy pinch of salt to this. If you have to measure, it's just under a teaspoon. And then a good pinch of pepper, maybe a ½ teaspoon. To this, we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil. And don't worry if you get too much in here, because we want this to get coated well, and we're gonna put our turkey in here. So we give this a nice little toss, and you see how everything gets a nice coating. We're gonna get the Brussels sprouts, the carrots, everything coated very nicely. And then I've got my large baking dish, and I'm just gonna place that in like so. Now I'm gonna make a little area in the center where my turkey breast will go. Looks pretty good right there, right? Okay, so now, what I want to do is we're going to truss this turkey breast. And if you don't know what that means you're tightening up the meat so when it expands under the heat, it has room to retain the juices. So just a good old-fashioned square knot or any kind of knot. And don't over-tighten it, but enough to keep the meat snug. So when it starts to expand, it holds the juices in instead of letting them run out. We'll take that off when we go to slice it up. So we've got our turkey trussed up nicely. And you can get this fresh. You might have to buy it frozen and then take it off the bone. Or you could just get lucky and have your butcher do it for you. So back into this pan, okay? So the trick here is that we make sure that we get a nice coating of herbs. And I'm just gonna throw the sage, the rosemary, and the thyme all in there. And to this, I'm going to add some more olive oil. And now there's no way around this. You're going to have to use your hands, but make sure you've got all your ingredients in. Again, a nice healthy pinch of salt and about half as much pepper. Make sure that you have a clean towel because your hands are going to get coated with this. So we're going to make sure that we really impregnate this turkey into the seasoning, and we'll get those herbs all pressed in there, because as you're pressing them down like this, you're actually releasing the oils, okay? So to this, now we're gonna take our herbs and we're gonna put them underneath our pan here. And now remember to get them underneath like so, and we're gonna drop it down in there. Get this, and put the herbs across the top like that. Okay, so this is the part where you got to make sure your hands are clean, because if you go touching anything, you're going to spread bacteria around. So from here, I'm going to head into the oven, which is preheated. So I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees for the first 15 minutes. I want to brown that skin up. Then I'm going to lower the heat for the last part of the cooking. All right, coming up, everyone seems to love Brussels sprouts. I'm going to put a little spin on it. We're going to oven roast them with some caramelized shallots and then finish it off with a little balsamic glaze. Let's get those going. Over the past 20 years, I think Brussels sprouts have become so popular that pretty much everyone has had them. And if you're going to do them at home, you can make them almost identical to what you get in the restaurant. A couple tips though you want to do. Depending on where you get your Brussels sprouts, they can be nice and trimmed up like this, or they can come with a big, end off of this. This is pretty much good to go, but I like to finish them off a little bit. And I just take my knife and trim it slightly like that, and I take the leaves off. Now, if you feel uncomfortable about pulling the blade towards your thumb, just do it like this. Cut it like that. And see, then you get that nice white area, and then the oxidation is gone. And then what I like to do is I like to make sure that I trim them up nicely. And if some of these leaves get in there, that's kind of good. They get all crunchy. And then I always split them in half. The reason for that is when we put them in the pan, you'll see we put them the cut side down, and that gives that nice caramelization. Once you get these all sliced up and ready to go, you'll want to make sure you have your shallots ready to go. So a shallot, if you're not familiar with that, is these little small onions. I take these and I split them in half like this, and then just slice them like that. And that's what goes in there. Now, if you don't want to go with shallots, because they can be a little expensive, try going with some red onions. So to this, I'm just going to move everything into my dish here, my mixing bowl, I should say. And we'll put these in and put a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper into this, along with the shallots. And we're going to toss this. Take the olive oil, put it over the top, probably about a quarter cup for a pound of Brussels sprouts. A good shot of salt, about 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon, and then your pepper. We'll give these a nice healthy toss so everything's coated. I'm going to put these in the pan like so. Look, a stray one. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a few moments to flip these over, and so they're the cut side down so they get that caramelization. I'll have these done in just a minute. All right, we've got these all flipped over, ready to go. And in case you thought I put those stems in, there they are. They didn't make it into the mix. All right, so these are ready to go in the oven. It's preheated. Let's head on over there. Oven is set at 400 degrees. We're going to put these in for about 15 minutes and turn them. Okay, so mashed potatoes are the staple of any holiday dinner. I've got mine right here. Coming up, I'm going to show you a totally different way to make them super elegant and casual. That's coming your way. Even though you know your potatoes are done, take a knife and stick it in them just to make sure it's nice and soft. And these potatoes are absolutely perfect. Let's go drain them off and have a little catch there just in case some get away, which they always do. and we want to get off as much of the liquid as possible. And we'll put this back in here, head over to the counter, and get these mashed. Mashed potatoes may seem simple, but there are some things that you can do to mess them up or make them totally perfect. In this particular recipe, I'm using gold potatoes, Yukon Gold, instead of russet. Russets are great. I love them. They're excellent for baking. It just so happens Yukons are a little bit better for mashed potatoes. If you want fluffy mashed potatoes, use a potato ricer. Never use one of these. These mixers turn potatoes into glue. When it comes to mashing, you don't want to overdo it. And so we're just going to mash these. And I got to tell you something about this particular masher. This guy right here. I grew up with this mashed potato masher, and that's just a testament to quality made products from, well, the 50s and 60s when I was growing up at my parents' house. All right, so I like my mashed potatoes a little bit more lumpy, okay? So I'm gonna leave these a little bit more lumpy here, give them a good spin around like that. And now we're gonna start adding some ingredients to this. I don't want to put in my salt and pepper yet because I'm going to season at the end when all the ingredients are in. So to this, I'm going to add my butter, and I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons of butter. The reason I'm using Yukon Gold is because they have this really rich flavor. And I'm just going to fold that in like so. Kind of get that butter melting and moving around in there. God, I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Now you can see how nice and rich those potatoes are and how they're already kind of mashed potatoes. To this though, I'm going to add some buttermilk. Start slow and then add more as you go. We're going to put in about 1/2 cup and we'll mix that in. I don't want my potatoes running, so go slow and then add more if you need it. And that looks like a pretty darn good consistency right there. Now I'm going to make sure I mix in my butter and buttermilk and everything in there really good. Make sure that butter gets melted in there. That's a pretty good consistency. Nice mashed potatoes. At this point, what I want you to do is give a little taste. And if it needs a little salt, a little more pepper, which this does, I seasoned the water with salt, so I don't need to put any more salt in it. And this turns out to be pretty good. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and add my chives in. And I'm just going to put all those in. And I'm putting them in at the end so I don't get them all kind of smashed up and mushed up. They stay nice and full and flavorful. The heat of the mashed potatoes in here will start to open up the flavor of those chives. And now, wow, you can really smell the chives coming out. If you don't want to use chives, go ahead with some green onions. All right, I've got my casserole dish here. And so to this, we'll just put this in my casserole dish. And I'm probably not going to get everything out that I would like to, but I'll give it my best shot. The good old-fashioned rubber spatula works really good. And when it comes to getting the potatoes in here, we don't want to smooth it all out and make it, perfectly flat, because what I like about having the ridges and everything, it grabs the Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs, and then that'll add a little bit more of a crust to it, okay? So now we're gonna put that around like so. All right, let's get this into position. Now let's make our Parmesan cheese and breadcrumb mixture. To this, 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Give that a little mix, and then we're going to sprinkle that over the top. And you see what I mean about having those little ridges and everything like that? With the ridges, it'll catch the Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs, and then that will help it get a little bit more crispy and crunchy. Okay, give that a little shake, make sure everything's settled down in there nicely. Now I've gone ahead and preheated my oven. This is just about ready to go in. Tidy this all up. So there you go, the breadcrumbs, the Parmesan cheese. The cheese will melt into the breadcrumbs, giving it a little bit more crispiness. So this is ready to go in the oven. It's preheated. Let's head on over there. Like I always say in cooking, timing is everything. So while the potatoes go in the oven and get crusted up, Now is the perfect time to give these Brussels sprouts a little toss, and they both can get going together. Give these a nice little toss around. That'll bring the shallots up and let those get caramelized. We'll close this back up and check back in about 10-15 minutes. All right, these Brussels sprouts are done. Nice caramelization on top. At the same time, I'm going to turn my oven to broil, keeping an eye on those potatoes because I don't want to burn the crust. All right, let's take this and finish it for presentation tableside. Okay, and it's literally just getting these into the bowl, and I've got my balsamic glaze over there. Look at how nice and caramelized these are. I mean, those look so good, and you can hear the crunchy little leaves in there. And make sure you get those caramelized shallots in there. They're expensive. So we get those all in there. And by all means, if you use red onions, get those red onions in there because those are tasty too. All right, we're gonna spread that out just a little bit. And to finish this off, I'm gonna use some balsamic glaze. You can make this, but it's so much easier just to buy it. And you wanna put this on just before you serve it because once the glaze hits it, it's going to start to kind of spread out. And the sweetness and the tartness of that balsamic vinegar will be perfect. That looks great. I'm gonna go grab my potatoes. All right, I've had my eye on these potatoes under the broiler, and they are looking nice and golden brown. Check this out. Make sure you don't leave them under there too long because you don't want to burn them. I'll finish off the potatoes with a little chopped Italian parsley. Man, these smell good. I'm telling you, when you serve these up, no one's had mashed potatoes like this. That buttermilk chive and then the crusty cheese and breadcrumbs on top. You know, these recipes are really easy to make, and I've got them on our website, cbsa.com/recipes. Head on over there to get them. And coming up in the next half hour, we'll do that turkey that's in the oven right now, and then also some blistered green beans with pancetta, as well as curried honey drizzled carrots. Welcome back to Cooking Holiday Style, a special edition of Cooking with Styles. I hope the things we've made so far are making you hungry. I've got that turkey that's going to be coming out of the oven in just a bit. Green beans. It is like the holiday tradition, and I love the old-fashioned style with the cream mushroom and the green beans and the onions on top, but I'm going to do a little something different. We're going to do some blistered green beans with pancetta. But we're not going to use the big green beans like this, okay? These are good, I love those, but we're going to be using these. You can call them French green beans or haricots verts, and you can pick them up in many locations. They come pre-packaged, cut, and all trimmed. This is from Jose Trader. I think that's kind of, you know, a signal there where you can pick those up at. These are the green beans we're going to use, but what we're going to do first is we're going to sear our pancetta. And this is a version of bacon. Now, if you can't get pancetta, go ahead and use bacon. But for this particular recipe, I'm using pancetta. And we're putting this in a very hot pan. And I'm going to render this down. And it's really hot. So at your house, just like me, I'm going to turn this fan on. It'll get a little noisy. But what we're trying to do is render the fat out here just a little bit. And so this will take about a minute or two, and then once this is ready, we'll jump back in and show you how to blister those green beans. All right, that pancetta's rendered down nicely. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil to that. And I'm going to take my green beans and just put them right in that hot oil. That's why these are going to be called blistered. And we'll take a little pinch of salt because that pancetta is not cured, and some cracked pepper over the top of that. And what I'm going to do is toss these every minute or two or 30 seconds to blister up these green beans. This is going to take about 4 or 5 minutes. All right, these are blistering up nicely. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You see how nice and blistered that is right there? That's what we're looking for. At the same time, while I'm doing these, on my other burner, I've got my almonds that I'm toasting up. And what I'm doing here is by toasting them, I'm removing some of the moisture. I'm intensifying the flavor of the almonds. I'm adding some crispiness to this, so we'll have the crunch of the almonds, the flavor of the pancetta in those green beans. We're almost there, about another minute, and we'll be ready. All right, remember this happens pretty quick. These are done along with my toasted almonds. Let's go plate it up. I'm telling you, this is a great little twist on green beans for the holidays. Now, I'm using kind of a decorative plate here. So what I'm going to try to do is make these all kind of be in the same line here. They don't have to be perfect, but it kind of looks cool that way. I like appearance in my food as far as that's concerned. It's got to look good to taste good. Get those guys right like that. And don't forget those little bits of pancetta. That stuff's expensive, but man, is it good. And again, don't put hot food on a cold plate. All right, toasted almonds, remember they're a little bit hot. And I like to leave them whole like that and put them over the top. And make sure you put enough on there for everybody. A little extra. Those are really good. Those go great on ice cream too. So, hey, how about this? Instead of the green bean casserole, some blistered haricots verts or French green beans with some toasted almonds on top and pancetta. This one's a really great dish. Now, we're going to take some beautiful heirloom carrots and we're going to call them oven roasted curried carrots with a little bit of a honey pecan drizzle over the top. They're super easy and I know they're going to be really different. So we're using these heirloom carrots and you get them pre-peeled or you can peel them yourself. The problem though is some are big and some are small, and then you also want to be able to trim off the little ends, get rid of that oxidation. So make sure you do that. And then if you have a really big one like this, go ahead and slice it maybe into 1 or 2 pieces so you have 3. And if you're going to set them aside like this, make sure that you drain them off completely and then dry them, because we're going to put a little oil on this, and if there's water on these carrots, the oil's not going to stick to them. So let me show you how we treat these. We take these, already got these ones all sliced up, ready to go, and to this I'm just going to take 2 or 3 sprigs of thyme here, and I'm just going to break it up a little bit, get the oils in there, and it doesn't really matter if you get all the little sprigs in there. To this we're going to put in a tablespoon of salt, and then about a ½ teaspoon of black pepper, all right? And then to that, now this is where the curry part comes in. This stuff is strong, so if you like curry, I would go with more, but I'm putting in a tablespoon for all of this. And I'm putting all these ingredients in first before I put my oil, because I want to make sure that it gets over most of the carrots. And I'm putting in about a ¼ cup of olive oil here. To this, I'm just going to toss this a little bit and coat everything and get everything prepped and ready to go. Put your hand up on the side like that, and you can just use that as a backstop, and it makes it really easy. And we get a nice good coating over everything. And I'm going to use a large cookie sheet or bake pan so that I can get everything kind of spread out from itself. I don't want everything touching, because if it's touching, it'll steam. And we'll just put these into, you can see that nice gold of the curry in there. Set this off to the side, give that a shake, get it all spread out. See, I don't want them stacked on top of each other. I want them spread out like this. Let's go pop these curried carrots in the oven. Now, I like roasting at 400 degrees. The reason for that, that'll give us a little bit of caramelization and char on these tips. And then another trick that I like to use is do it on the top rack. The whole oven's 400 degrees, but the top always is a little bit hotter. And now is a good time. I've got my pecans here that I've diced up and I've toasted them a little bit. Make sure you keep tossing these so you don't burn them. We'll check on our carrots in just a bit. It's been about 15 minutes. Let's give these carrots a little toss. Make sure we get that oil up on top of them. Move the ones from the edge into the center and the ones from the center out to the edge. Give it a little shake, and we're about halfway home. The carrot's just about ready to come out, but let's make the honey pecan glaze. I'm going to put about a ¼ cup of honey into my toasted pecans. Heat's still on, and I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of water to that. I'm going to give that a little swirl around, and we're pretty much done with that. Let's go grab our carrots and head on over to the countertop. So here we go. let's put this all together. We'll take our carrots, and we want to kind of give them a little toss in this nice olive oil that we've got here. And we're just going to get these into our serving dish here. Now, everyone's got their own special serving dish. This is just one I picked up along the way. And by all means, get the thyme in there and everything that we've gone ahead and put into the ingredients here, because that's all going to add to the flavor of this. And I'm going to put that, I swear, that olive oil has got great flavor on it. And it's good quality olive oil, so why not use it in your dish? Okay, and there's our honey pecan drizzle, or pecan, as Molly would have me say. And we're going to sprinkle those over the top. And I'm going to use them all because, man, they are so, so good. Wow. Oh, there's the stray that tried to get away. All right, there's your curry roasted heirloom carrots with a little pecan honey drizzle over the top. This will be a sensation at your holiday meal. Coming up, we'll do some scallop potatoes that's going to knock everyone's socks off. We'll be back in just a bit. Welcome back. I'm just finishing up slicing these scallop potatoes. If you don't have one of these, a mandolin that I got at the San Diego County Fair years ago, let me show you a technique that you might want to use when it comes to slicing your potatoes. Now, of course, I don't know if you can get them that thin, but what you want to do is slice it in half because you don't want that potato rolling around. And use your knuckle as a guide. Let me do that over here for John. And just roll the knife down like that. And you can see you can get it pretty thin that way. So that's the technique that I used to use before I got my mandolin there. All right, let's start putting these scallop potatoes together. I've pre-buttered my casserole dish, and I'm just going to take a little bit of salt and sprinkle it in the bottom with just a little bit of pepper, okay? And we're just going to take the scallops of the potatoes, and we're going to put a layer in the bottom, like so, okay? And then we're going to come back with some sweet onions that I pre-sliced, and you can get pretty heavy on these. And then a little bit of garlic that's pre-minced. And then we're going to put another layer of potatoes in, and you're going, well, wait, when do you start putting in the cream? You're just going to have to stick around for that. So make sure you get everything kind of evenly spread out there and press down. Now we're going to put another little, just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and hold your hand up high when you do that. Don't forget your onions, and a good layer, because these are sweet onions and they're going to add a lot to it. Total wise, we're going to put in about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic in here, and then we're going to come back again with our layer of potatoes like so. Spread those out, and again, pressing them down, making sure you get a nice snug fit. All right, and save just enough potatoes for the last layer. Okay, in goes our onions again. A little bit of salt. Again, just a little, not very much, and a little bit of pepper, all right? So now we're going to take our potatoes, and this will be the final layer. So we're going to make sure we cover everything with potatoes and get those all completely covered, spreading that out nicely. Now, you could, if you wanted to at this point, put some Parmesan cheese on this, but I just go with cream, heavy cream on top of this. And we're going to use at least 1.5 cups. And you'll notice I'm not putting any salt or pepper on yet. I'll tell you why in just a moment. So we want to get that so we just start to see the cream fill in. Give it a little shake and everything will even out. We can use just a little bit more cream. So about 2 to 3 cups of cream in here. It depends on how many potatoes you put in here. I've got a solid 8 or 9 potatoes. To this, I'm going to put a little sprinkle of garlic over the top because that'll add a nice little bit of color. And now I'm going to put on my salt and my pepper. And you're saying, hey, well, you were going to tell us why you put the cream in at the last. Because if I put it in while I'm adding it, it'll wash it all off to one side. This is all ready to go in the oven. Let's head over there. All right, our oven's set at 375. We're going to put some foil over the top, but I don't want to make it so it's completely encasing it. I want it to have some of the steam come out, but not all of it. And I put this inside here. We'll check it in about 1/2 hour, take that foil off. Scallop potatoes have been in here for about 40 minutes. And you can see they're boiling there in the center. We're going to take the lid off now and let them start to brown up on top. Oh, look at these. Perfect. Bubbling, golden brown on top. Whew. How good does that look? Hey, just a little bit of trivia. This recipe is actually from Portugal when I went surfing there from a chop house. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to serve these potatoes up right away. You see how they're boiling and bubbling? That's good, but if we were to scoop them out right now, all the liquid would come running out. So we want these to set for maybe 10, 15 minutes. So while these cool, I'm going to get some things ready. We're going to pull the turkey out of the oven, and then dessert. We're going to make a tarte tatin, or in other words, an upside down apple pie. We'll get to that right after this break. All right, the turkey is done. You're aiming for about 165-degree internal temperature. And we're going to take this off, get all those nice herbs on the bottom. And we've got all our au jus in there. Let's get this sliced up. Don't forget you have your little strings on there, and we want to cut those off. And we've got that beautiful, beautiful crust on top. I'm just going to leave those herbs on the bottom, kind of as a little decoration. I'm going to go ahead and slice this. And I'm not going to slice it all. I'm just going to slice enough for the guests that we have here with us. It's kind of like a presentation. All right, under we go. And we'll fan that out just a little bit. And take our vegetables. Vegetables in the center like so. Now you see all that au jus that I've got left over? I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. That is really going to make this something special. We've got our potatoes, parsnips, broccoli, Brussel sprouts, I should say. And we're going to drizzle this right over the top. So we don't need any gravy with this because we've got this beautiful au jus. All right, so there you go. How about that for a turkey dinner instead of the whole bird, just the breast? You've got all your vegetables, you've got your beautiful turkey breast, nice and juicy inside. Now that we've got the main course done, how about some dessert? We're gonna make a beautiful tarte tatin, which is an upside down apple pie. It is so tasty, and I'm telling you, once you try this, I don't know if you're ever gonna wanna have regular apple pie. A holiday meal wouldn't be a holiday celebration without dessert. So we're going to make something really special, but actually quite easy. It's a tarte tatin, or a upside down apple pie, a French apple pie. Let me show you the steps. It's really all about the procedure. So I've got a stainless steel pan here, and I'm going to take a cup of sugar, and I've got that on a medium heat. Make sure you get all that sugar in there. And to this, on the medium heat, we're going to add about a tablespoon or two, make it 2 tablespoons of water. And now we're going to start melting this sugar, and we're going to start to let it caramelize a little bit. So this is going to take about 5 minutes for that to happen. And you want to really pay attention and keep stirring it. So we're going to get going on this, and when it gets a little bit closer, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Along the way, you're probably going to have to add just a little bit of water. Make sure you get that and incorporate it right away into the center to keep that sugar glaze going. And we're just about ready to have this turn to caramelized. All right, this is a long procedure, but you can see we've got a nice caramelization here. To this now, I'm going to turn my heat down. Okay, my heat's going to come down to medium, and I'm going to add some butter to this now. And to this, I'll incorporate that all in, and then I'll start poaching my apples. There we go. All right, so my heat's down. I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon to that, okay? And then I'm going to add my apples. I've got them quartered. And now we're just going to start basting these apples in this sauce. Take a look at what we've got going here. I've got these apples poaching in that caramel sauce, just like you would have potatoes. One thing though I'm going to tell you that I forgot to put in, we're going to put it in right now, is a little bit of nutmeg. And I know it seems like a little bit, it's just 1/8 of a teaspoon, but we're going to mix that in because we want all our ingredients in there. And then you're going to take these apples and we're going to treat them just like potatoes. We'll take a knife in them, and when they're tender, we'll make this all come together. So now we're ready to put the tarte tatin together. And to get to this point where we've got these beautifully poached apples, it's taken about a half hour. I'm going to switch pans. I'm going to take a cast iron pan here, and I'm going to take the apples and I'm going to place them in nice and neat like this. And I know it sounds like it's tedious, but you want the food to be good, you want it to be tasty, so we're going to put this all the way around. I got to do all of these apples, and then we'll be able to put our puff pastry on top. So give me a few minutes here while I get these all ready to go, and then I'll show you the final steps. All right, we're coming into the home stretch. Let's get the last of these apples. And the ones that kind of fall apart, I like to put those in the center like this. That way they kind of hide the blemishes, as it were. We're going to take this sauce and pour this over the top. And I like to make sure I get it all in there, so I'm using my rubber spatula. Sorry if I splashed some of that on you, John. We've got our nice sauce there. Now the puff pastry goes in, all right, like so. And then because we're going to use it on the bottom, we'll just put these extra pieces on the edge here where we made those cuts. And then I want to take a fork and poke some holes in here to let the steam come out. That way the puff pastry will get nice and puffy. All right, oven's preheated. In it goes. 20 minutes later, perfection. Been about 20 minutes in here. I checked it once. The tarte tatin, look at that puff pastry, how nice it fluffed up there. And we've got a little bit of boiling syrup on the side. We're going to let this rest for about 20 minutes before we do the big flip. So now for the moment of truth. Our tarte tatin has cooled off enough. Make sure you run a knife around the edges because you really only get one shot at this. Take your plate, put it over on top like that, and we're just going to hold it like this. Cross your fingers. Here we go. Give it a tap or two on top, a little wiggle, and see what happens. Oh my goodness gracious. Take a look at that, would you? All right, we're going to finish this off with a little bit of fresh thyme over the top. Just a little bit, not a whole lot, okay? Now, if it were up to me to serve this, I would go with some vanilla bean ice cream. You could also do some fresh whipped cream. By all means, don't use Cool Whip on this. So we've got ourselves the beautiful tarte tatin. We made ourselves a fantastic turkey breast with an oven roasted medley of vegetables, scallop potatoes, the recipe right out of Portugal, oven roasted curried heirloom carrots, and then the blistered haricot vert with the toasted almonds on top with the pancetta. I hope you enjoyed watching us do all these recipes. Give a big shout out to photojournalist John Steinbaugh and producer on this particular show. If you like these recipes, all the ones we've made, you can go to our website, cbs8.com/recipes, and they'll all be right there. If you'd like to see this entire segment in its complete entirety, there's multiple locations to go. You can go to cbs8.com or YouTube. This show and all the Cooking with Styles episodes can be watched on our streaming channel, CBS 8 Plus. You can find them on any Roku, Amazon Fire, as well as Apple TV. Just install CBS 8 Plus on your TV to view all the great content from CBS 8. Once again, thank you very much for watching. From myself, Sean Styles, and photojournalist John Steinbaugh, happy holidays.